Welcome to Connection Ministries Summer Friendship Gathering Training Series for Volunteer. This episode provides guidance with food service.
Thank you for your willingness to be part of your church's Summer Friendship Gathering as part of the food service team, and thank you for reviewing these training materials. This episode will explain the importance and dynamics of the gathering fellowship meals. We will go over facility requirements and offer some suggestions on how you might fund the meals. We will also emphasize the importance of the schedule, menu, and special dietary needs. This summer's Friendship Gathering is an extension of the ministry that takes place every week in your congregation's friendship group. It is a great time for friends with intellectual disabilities and companions to reconnect during the summer when most friendship groups do not meet. Some of the gatherings will include friendship groups from other churches. The Summer Friendship Gathering event lasts 3 evenings. Each evening is divided into 3 parts: fellowship meal, worship time with a large group lesson, and small group discussion. The last evening, there is a closing worship service, which replaces the large group lesson and small group discussion time. The fellowship meal is a great way for the friendship group to reconnect with each other. Some groups go out of their way to make these meals memorable. As an example, there was a meal with an Italian theme. The tables were decorated with special checkered tablecloths and candles in the center. Servers visited tables with towels draped on their arms to serve breadsticks and desserts. This can be a great way to engage youth and other groups in your church. Recruiting small groups in your church is a great way to introduce members of your church to the ministry. Every year, we learn of new friendship group volunteers who become involved after helping with a group serving a meal. It is our hope you will use these 3 evening meals to strengthen relationships with everyone. This includes our friends with disabilities, their families, direct support staff, and volunteers. We may be the best image some of our guests have had of the church. It is important for the food service team to prepare, serve, and clean up from the meals. Volunteer companions and leaders who have relationships with their friends with disabilities should be free to enjoy their meal with their friends. Please do not let them become part of your food service team. Each congregation or food service team is responsible for the evening meal for all 3 evenings. This includes providing the facility, the meal group, food items for regular and special dietary needs, paper products, and beverages. As you plan for the meals, consider the dynamics of the event and special needs of the group. The food service team will need to communicate with the Summer Friendship Gathering leadership team to be sure all the spaces and equipment needed for food preparation, serving, and dining have been reserved on the church's calendar early enough in the year. Meal groups will need kitchen facilities capable of preparing a meal for 50 to 90 people. The count for your event will depend on the number of people registering for the event and the number of support volunteers. The registration count will be available from the Friendship Leadership Team or by contacting Connection Ministries. This number will change as the event date approaches. You will also need dining space for about 50 to 90 people, depending on the size of the gathering. Round tables work best for encouraging conversation and fellowship during meals. Try not to overcrowd the tables. If the room is large enough and extra tables are available, set up more tables, leaving open spaces for people that use wheelchairs. Meals need to be simple with a single choice menu of entree and sides. Limiting choices will make it easier for some of our friends with disabilities to move through the serving line. It will be important not to have an open buffet line. Portion control is important. Do not allow participants to serve themselves. Volunteers need to place reasonable adult-sized portions on each dish. The menu items for all participants should not be spicy. Avoid beans, gassy vegetables, or fibrous starches. Foods that can cause choking should also not be considered for the menu. These foods can include hot dogs, raw vegetables, nuts and seeds, chunks of meat or cheese, whole grapes, hard, gooey, or sticky candy, popcorn, chunks of peanut butter, and marshmallows. We will talk more about special dietary needs a bit later. It is best to not use cake on the dessert menu because it can be messy. Cookies make a great option because it can engage members of the congregation to bake cookies. Homemade is best, and cleanup is easier. For portion control, pre-plate the cookies. A lot is packed into 2.5 hours on each day of the gathering. Staying on schedule will be critical because the group homes need to get back for evening routines. The registration table will be ready to receive guests at 5:30 p.m., and the Friendship Volunteer Companions should be available to greet them as they arrive. It will be important for the Friendship Group companions and leaders who have established a relationship with our Friends with Disabilities to be at the event in time to greet their friends with disabilities. To stay on schedule, the blessing and meal should begin promptly at 6 p.m., even if the number of guests on hand seems small. Volunteer companions should help late arrivals go through the serving line quickly when they arrive and assist them with their food. Friends with Disabilities, their families, direct support staff, and volunteers that registered will have name tags at the registration table that were prepared for them in advance. Along with their name, the tag will include special dietary needs. Special needs may include, but are not limited to, specific food allergies, diabetes, gluten or lactose intolerance, food chopped or pureed, choke risk, and more. Guests who did not register in advance will be registered that evening by the registration team. They will notify the food service team for any special dietary needs. Connection Ministries will provide the gathering leadership team with a list of participants with special dietary needs in advance of the event. Meal groups who do their best to accommodate these special needs and notify Connection Ministries for help if needed. It will be important for volunteer companions and volunteers serving the meal to look at each name tag and be sure each person's dietary special needs are accommodated. Small second servings may be given if the guest is not limited to single servings, time permits, and everyone has been through the line. The serving line should be closed and cleared away at 6:40 p.m., which only leaves 40 minutes for the meal. Following the meal, registered participants will move to the worship large group lesson space for a few worship psalms and the Bible lesson. On days 1 and 2, following the large group lesson, the dining space may be used for small group discussions. If this is the case, it will be necessary to reset the dining tables for the discussion groups. Some gathering events will have one meal group who prepares and serves all 3 dinners. Other churches will have separate groups for each evening. Events involving friendship groups for multiple churches may have meal groups from each of the churches. Funding for meals can be available in a variety of ways. Your church may have an established budget. There may also be members of your congregation who are willing to fund the meals. The meal may be a small group service project where the individual groups are willing to donate funds or food items. Thrivent Financial is an organization that currently provides seed funds for action teams. Qualified Thrivent members can apply for up to 2 Thrivent Action Team projects in each calendar year. Thrivent will approve 3 Action Team projects for each gathering event, 1 for each day of the event, as long as different volunteers are involved on each day. The Thrivent member applying for the project receives a Visa gift card with the allotted funds that can be used for food cost or other aspects of the event like craft materials or decorations. When applying, members will have an opportunity to order 25 Thrivent t-shirts per project at no cost. We encourage these shirts to be used for the food service and facility setup teams. The volunteers on these teams do not need to register with Connection Ministries and therefore will not receive the themed event shirts that would be given to the registered participants. Anyone applying for a Thrivent Action Team project should coordinate their applications with the gathering leadership team to ensure only one application is submitted for each evening. Gathering leadership teams should begin recruiting Thrivent members who will be involved in the gathering and willing to apply for an Action Team project. They should submit their applications early. At the very least, members need to allow at least 30 days for approval and to receive the project kit before the funds are needed. Items covered by the Action Team project must be purchased with the Visa gift card to qualify. Items may not be purchased with personal funds and reimbursed by using the gift card for personal use. If you have any questions about Thrivent Action Teams, you can contact us. The food service team members are considered support volunteers. They do not need to complete the participant and volunteer registration or complete a background screen. Members of the meal team will be staying for dinner. They need to be sure they are included in the meal count. More information about registration is available in the registration training video. There will be a kitchen manual that has important information regarding special dietary needs. There are also name tags and volunteer forms to be completed that include photo and liability releases for the church and for Connection Ministries. It is our vision that your church works towards being an authentic faith community that reaches out, shares the good news of Jesus Christ, and embraces people with intellectual disabilities, their families, and direct support staff. It is our hope that everyone will grow together in their relationship with Christ. You are encouraged to review the notes for this presentation. The link can be found on the Connection Ministries website next to this training video. We thank you for your willingness to be part of this year's Summer Friendship Gathering. If you have any questions or need information, you can email us at connect@connection-ministries.org or call our office 317-646-5067.
If you would like to provide financial support for the Summer Friendship Gatherings, you can give online at connectionministries.org.